Hi guys, this is Franco from IT and Cybersecurity Journey. Today we're going to be going over scenario 5, the permission maze. Welcome to the permission maze. The dev team is unable to deploy their application. They have a service account called deploy-bot, but something is wrong with the role-based access control configuration. And I've given you a hint. There are 3 bugs hiding in the role binding and service account setup. Your mission is to find and fix them all. So, as always, I would suggest you get really comfortable with this, but I'm going to run a kconfig set-context to change to my context to the current context, and then I want to go into the RBAC lab namespace. So if now I run kget pods, right, I have no pods in the RBAC namespace. So let's start, since we're going to be working out of this namespace. My task is to check what the deploy-bot service account can actually do. So, just to gain some informational context about the auth can command, as we can see for service accounts, you want to run it like this as the system service account. And so, as you can see, the service account name is foo of namespace dev, can list pods in the namespace you specify. So you have to get really specific with this command. So what we have to do is we're going to go ahead and copy it, paste it. So this is going to get changed to our back-lab. And so I actually have to change the service account name to be deploy-bot. And as well, for the namespace, it is going to be changed to our back lab, because that is where the service accounts resides. So as we can see, we cannot, with this service account, we cannot list pods, right? If we go and check the next things it's asking us to check, we cannot, let's see, let's see, list deployments. So let's check that. List deploy, no. And if we do the same, but this time it's asking for create. Can I create deployments? Whoops. Create deploys? No. So we have to examine the role and check the role binding to look for what's wrong. So first, I'm just going to look at the role, as that's what the fix number 1 is to look at the role. So we're going to go ahead and get the role and view the YAML for it. We can see, looking at it, the way a role is structured, right, it's kind of like most things. The API version, so this is a group, and then this is the API version. So the API group is rbac.authorization.k8.io, and the API version is going to be v1. As we can see the name, the namespace, resource version, UUID, but what's most important is the array for rules. So as we can see, for each set of rules that you want to make, you start with the API groups. And we can off the bat see that there's 2. So there's one for that works on resources deployments and one for pods. But notice that the API group for extensions. Now, is there such thing as an API group called extensions? Well, we can verify by running kapi resources and either running grep or less. I'm just going to run extend, and as we can see, there is an API group that contains extensions, but it's API extensions.k8.io. So what is the deployments API group? Well, if we run the previous command to view list the API resources of a Kubernetes cluster, we can see that for deployments, the group is apps and the version is v1. So we have to fix our role to, instead of being extensions, it will now be, whoops, and I deleted the whole thing, apps. Done. Now what we want to run, let's look at our history. Let's just run those auth commands again for, let's just do the list deployment. So that's command 6. I'm still not able to list deployments, and maybe it's because I have a typo here. No, I'm still not able to list deployments. So we're going to check our solution. As you can see, the lab likes it, so we move on. Test permissions again. We can see that even with the fixed role, check if deploybot can list deployments. It should still fail, which it did. Now we have to look at the role binding, which is the next object up in the hierarchy. So we verified that the permissions are all good. They are acting on the proper resources and API groups. But now if I get the role binding, this is the structure of a role binding. So the way a role binding works, right? A role binding is what assigns a role to subjects. So if we look here at the role ref, we can see that we have the section where the role is being referenced. So it's using the API group for authorization for RBAC. The kind is role, and then the name. So that links this role, the deployer role, to this role binding. This role binding then subjects the role to the subjects. Under the subject section, we have service account, deployment bot, and RBAC lab. But wait a second, we can see here that deploybot is the name of our service account, and we can confirm that by going to kgetsa and running deploy-bot. So based off of that, what we need to now do is edit our role binding. So since it's the only one in this namespace, I'm just gonna run this, and I don't have to specify the name. And so what I want to do is change this from deployment bot to deploy bot. And now we can verify again with the commands that our permissions are good. Yes, we can list deployments. Yes, we can list create deployments. And then the last one, now we are going to verify that we can list pods. We can list pods. Great. And now what we have to do is grant pod log access. So first we have to check if it can get pod logs using the command we've been using, kubectl auth can I. The way you do that is you basically list the main resource, which is pods, and then the sub resource. So it would just be logs, but it would be get. It wouldn't be list. And it seems like we already can. The sub resource pod / log. Maybe it's because I misspelled it. Because I don't think we should be able to. Not sure what's going on, but we should not be able to. And I'll just show it here. Maybe can I get pods log? Let's see. That's interesting. I guess it changed, but you used to have to add new rules specifically for the sub resources. So like basically what you would used to have to do is you would have to add a rule for resource pod / log. But we can just look at the role here. Since it's already good, we can just skip it. It'll probably fail the PIV. Oh no, it passed the verification. Okay, I'll probably change that step when this scenario goes live. And I'll have you guys more than likely add another rule. So like just to give an example here, because I'll probably have you guys do something similar, is if we go here to API groups, under rules, anytime you want to add a new rule, you just do you write it's an array. So you start with your new set of roles, your new set of rule, the API group. Double quotes means it just wants to act upon all API groups resources. So the resource you want to act on. So let's say I want to give this user access to what's a good one? PVCs, and they can only list them. That's it. That's one way you can do that. And so now this user is able to get PVCs if there were any in the cluster. As you can see, the role was edited successfully. There's more documentation here, but that is it for this one. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good